Jeffrey and Jessica are Redditors.
You know God's not real, right?
Okay, fair enough. You guys are entitled to your opinions, but how's it working out for you? Jeffrey's addicted to porn and Jessica's addicted to chads. They're miserable people, just fleeting from one pleasure to the next. They never get the fulfillment of having a family.
Kids? Why would we want to bring kids into this world? It's already overpopulated.
But that's not true. We're about to hit population collapse. We need more kids, and the people who have big families will be stronger. But Jeffrey and Jessica stop listening and choose to listen to a rapper instead. Adonis and Anastasia are a godly couple. For Adonis, it was so important to find a religious woman as the best sign of a pure, respectful wife. And for Anastasia, it was important to find a man who fears God and disciplines himself to live with virtue. They live the best life together. Jeffrey and Jessica are so jealous that they leave hate comments. Now that freedom of speech is back on the internet, everyone can be honest and say that we are all sick of the psyoping, the devil worship that we see around us. We see degeneracy, we see lust, we see pedophilic celebrities who are worshipped. For the last 10 years, any strong person who stood up and voiced their concern about the way the society was going was cancelled and silenced. But no longer. We have our voice back again. There's a short quote which I absolutely love. The truth will prevail. Over enough time, people will realize the truth about certain situations. And I think this is one of them. And you know, surprisingly, some of the first people to learn the truth about the world are not the wise, older people. In fact, they're some of the most ignorant people of history, like the old people today. They have just been fed all these lies and they hold so strongly. They're wearing 5 COVID masks still to this day. And not even like the middle-aged people, but the very young generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, some of them now are being raised in truth. Of course, a lot of them are like 6, 7, whatever the fuck the trend is. A lot of them are just fucked in their head because their parents are weak and their parents have allowed this destruction to the minds of their children. But an emerging group of young people are separating themselves from the Jeffreys and realizing the truth of the world. That we are meant to be in a community and not just chronically online. We are meant to worship God and religion and places of prayer and not rappers covered in tattoos talking about getting STDs and crimes that they didn't even commit. It's an absolute fact that religion makes you more disciplined. The daily prayers, showing up to church, charity, these things train your willpower, like your ability to resist bad habits. And not only that, you get more encouragement, more need, more accountability. What more accountability could you have other than the belief that God is always watching? In Islam, there's 5 daily prayers, and especially for new people, it's kind of uncomfortable to bend down and go onto your knees and put your head down to the floor and stand up again. But that's literally training your discipline to stay in discomfort for the greater good. This kind of practice is so similar to going to the gym to become a stronger person. It's the same as resisting the sugar to improve your diet. It's all just leveling up your character in this life. And not only that, you get more reason to be sexually disciplined. We all know that one of the biggest problems in the modern world is lust and degeneracy. And religion encourages you to be sexually disciplined so that you can have a family instead of just casual dating. And casual dating is so messed up. Like, whether you're an unattractive guy with no girls, or you're an attractive guy with a lot of girls, or you're an unattractive girl and guys just want to sleep with you but they don't want to be seen with you, or you're an attractive girl and guys want to be, like, for every type of person, we all agree modern dating is messed up. Like, it's so unfulfilling. Everyone agrees with this. It was like one big experiment that feminism started to push people into casual dating and the sexual revolution and convince women that sexual freedom's good for them. And it turns out that everyone's kind of more depressed this way. Most of us, like the people who have gotten away from the masses, we want a family. And the thing is, having a family outside of religion is probably not a good idea. Having a family through just casually dating a lot of people, and then yeah, you get married, but not in the eyes of God, and you look at each other and you basically lie in your vows and say, yeah, till death do us apart. Or also the 40 to 50% risk that we'll divorce in a few years when one of us is moderately unhappy. It doesn't make sense. If you want a family, if you want children, then it makes most sense to have a religious marriage, to have a religious partnership. If you don't want that, okay, fair enough. Then you can go ahead and do casual dating for the rest of your life. But there's not actually that many like strong people who adamantly say like, yeah, I don't want children. And if you want children, that seems to be the way. It's been like an experiment and it's just failed. A good, long-term, secure relationship needs more than just the commitment of both people. It needs the accountability and, quite frankly, the pressure of the community. It needs the pressure of their belief in God to keep them together. And I'm speaking like so strictly here. This is basically just me just speaking to myself. I don't mean to preach, because I need to improve more than the average person. I grew up as a Muslim. When I was a child and we lived in Liverpool in UK, I used to go to like this after-school Islamic study group, and I used to study the Quran there. So I was actually kind of more religious than the average child. My mother's like very religious, my brother is, his wife is. And so I've come from this family of very religious people. But by the time I became like a teenager, I really started to lose my faith. Every single time I would look at the news or somewhere on the internet, if there was something about Muslims, it was a bad thing. It was always about terrorism. This is when like the 9/11, pretty sure we can all say that was a fucking fake conspiracy. Yeah, a bunch of sand people hopped on a plane, crashed the plane into the building, and then their passport survived. But either way, I believed it, right? Like most people did. Most people believed what we were taught about 9/11. Okay, the Muslims are the bad people. Turns out it was a fucking lie. Muslims are fucking great people. If you meet a Muslim who really practices the religion, he will probably be one of the most disciplined, like friendly, supportive people you meet in your life. And the same is true for the people who really practice Christianity. It's the people who don't really practice the religion, but they kind of still say that they are, but they're kind of more degenerate. And then they go and commit crime that makes the whole religion seem bad, when really, if you practice the religion, you become like an outstanding person. It's like a rule book to life, a guidebook to discipline. So I realized that religion would be so good for me. And I've known that for years. But if I'm going to be totally honest, I've really struggled to get more into it, to commit and to take the leap of faith. And one of the biggest reasons why is because I don't believe in God. I wish I did, because I can see how good it would be. I can see people who believe in God and they seem to have the sort of life, the peace that I really want. Like, I'm not sure if, people who believe in God, they might see me being blasphemous by saying this, but this is just my personal sort of opinion. I don't want to not believe in God, because I can see it'd be a good thing. But how do you just turn on the belief when you just don't have it? That's what I'm struggling with. That's what I'm trying to learn right now. So I've been listening to people who sort of explain the Quran. I've been listening to people who explain more of the Bible. I've tried reading the books myself, but I'll be honest, because a lot of people say that, like, oh, just go read the Bible, just go read the Quran. I have tried. I'll be completely honest though, and I hope this doesn't sound offensive, but I didn't understand it like one bit. I don't know if I'm just like really stupid, but everyone says like, oh, I read the Bible and it changed my life. I read the Quran and it changed my life. I'm like reading it and it's like, for me, I don't understand anything. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm listening to people who are talking about it in a way that I can understand. For me personally, I'll keep learning about this. I'm going to keep talking to religious people, asking them questions. And I just felt like making this video today because I know that a lot of my own followers are feeling the same thing as me. Whether you're already religious and it's awesome to see the rise of it becoming cool again, or in the last like year, 2 years, you've been thinking about it more and thinking, yeah, like being a godly person, being a religious person would be awesome. A lot of the things that we do in modern day self-improvement, like discipline and getting away from lust and meditation and gratitude, well, these actually all come from religion in the first place. So I think a lot of us, whether we are very religious or not, can really appreciate some of the teachings that we've still been implementing into our lives. Leave a comment about your story of religion and believing in God, because it'll be so interesting to read. And whenever I've debated religion, one of the things that like I find it hard to admit, but because it's gonna sound weird for, like, I don't know if it'll sound weird, but for me personally, I've always thought to myself, like, if I got into religion, I'd finally be able to let someone else lead sometimes. I'd be able to like follow the path rather than having to cut through the jungle completely and utterly myself. It's been exhausting and terribly difficult to have like no guidance, right? You watch me, you get guidance from me. I've never really had like a YouTuber that I've watched. Like, okay, I've watched a few guys who talk about fitness, okay, eat protein, but I've never really had like someone who's guided like life, not just one little area. Like, I follow like a mobility follow along video or something, but I've never had someone who maybe you could say like me, who's changed my life, who gave me direction. And I've always thought that if and when I get really into religion, I'd finally have that like guiding figure. And something about that lets me just feel like I can finally just breathe and relax. I don't have to figure it all out. The plan is laid out in front of me. Just try and follow it as best as you can. I don't know if anyone will relate to this at all because I think it's a very specific thing. But if anyone here, this is going to sound cringe, but if anyone here has been kind of like the leader of their group, whether you felt like the man of the house or you've had like, a group of friends who you kind of like give advice to and they kind of follow you in some ways, I bet you'll be able to relate to me. I think people who haven't had much leadership in their life won't be able to relate, but I think the other guys who have stepped into that role, you'll know what I mean. That's one of the things I'm most excited for, is just being handed like a rule book and your life plan is like, yeah, just follow it as best as you can. That's it. That seems so comforting to know. Like, obviously I'm not going to be following it perfectly, but just having something laid out in front of me, I think would make me feel so good, so powerful. And I think this could be so good for me. So I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep experimenting. And maybe every now and then I'll update you with where I'm at. But it's so nice to see the rise of religion again. And if you are a religious person and you're trying your best to follow the guidebook and to be disciplined, you have my respect. And for anyone else who's been thinking about it with some interest, keep learning. Keep learning. And it feels like we're on the right side of history. I know there's not many of us on this path. It's way easier to go worship a rapper than it is to go worship God. It's way easier to go sleep with the first person who looks at you than it is to be more disciplined. But we are really on the right path here. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah. By the way, no pressure, but there's a few links underneath this video that you can check out if you want to have a look at my paid programs. When you trust me enough and you feel like my free content has already changed your life, you can have a look at those.